Not really.
What do you mean we're clowns? Isn't that
It's the whole
good?
point of the show.
There's an issue with clowns right now in this country.
Why should we hire you over any other applicant?
Why the hell are we asking interview questions?
We're interviewing you for Between the Lines. Why should we hire you over every other applicant?
Because I'm already on the show.
That's a poor answer. Can you rephrase?
I am currently already involved with the program.
But we're in the birds.
Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Between the Lines. I'm Harrison Malone, and that's Stephen Kipp.
How's it going, everybody?
What you got, Eric?
All right, first question. Steven, after the football performance on Saturday at Kalamazoo, both Nick Sullivan and Dylan Zaborowski had 4 touchdowns each. Who had a better performance?
I'm going to go with Sully on that one. Zaborowski had a really good performance for himself, threw for 57%, which was a season high. And he did look good getting the ball to Danny the whole time. But Sully averaged, what did he average, over 6?
5.1.
Was it 5.1? Just over 5, over 5 yards a carry. And we talked about this last week on the show, he really needed a game like that where he averaged over 4 yards a carry because I think he was still under 4 before going into Kalamazoo. And then the 4 touchdowns is huge too, just for the captain to get in. I think that really uplifts the whole team when the running game's working.
Harrison, same question.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and say that Dylan probably had the better game. You mentioned it, that's definitely a better game for him. But at the same time, he only threw it to Dan 7 times. Like, he spread the ball around a little bit. Obviously, Dan's stats say a little otherwise. But the fact that he was able to spread the ball around and keep the offense moving for majority of the game really says a lot about the development of how this passing game is going to look for the rest of the year.
Harrison, last week, girls soccer played a couple different games. Megan Kalanick ended up with 4 goals on the week, and Whitney Foote had 2 goals. However, she has been more consistent overall this season. Who do you say had a better week?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that Kalanick probably had the better week. It seems pretty obvious out front. You said Kalanick scored more often, but Whitney is more consistent this year. Kalanick is right there with Whitney. It's not like they're not close to begin with. It just seems like, every time Whitney scores, it's Megan Kalanick on the assist.
Steven, for the last question, who was more impressive, Kyle Kansman with 2 goals or Hebron Hines' wonder goal?
Oh.
Good one. I got to adjust my pants for
stand up for
this
this one.
question.
It's a good question.
I'm going to go with Kyle Kansman for sure, just because he is a defenseman, and it's kind of unusual to see a defenseman score multiple goals in a game, let alone score 1 goal. But week in and week out, he's a good defender for the Scots, and it's really good to see him contribute and work hard and get those 2 goals.
Harrison?
I'm going to go ahead and say that Hebron's 1 goal was almost better than any other part of that game. To describe it for those that didn't see it, Hebron made this impressive side kick that I couldn't ever physically even attempt. And the ball just came right off his foot. It looked like it was going to go wide right. And it just tailed right back in the top right corner. The keeper had no chance of getting to it. It was something you'd see in the MLS. It was absolutely crazy. And wasn't it also his first career goal too?
Yeah, it was.
He's a freshman, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so, not only was it a crazy goal, it was his first goal as a Scot. So I just think that says a lot about him and says a lot about what we can see from him in the future.
Check. So true? That's so true, Steven. All right. So we're taking a stand, huh?
We did this last week, and Harrison unfortunately lost. He had 1 prediction out of his 3 that were correct, and I was 2 for 3 last week. So we'll get to that a little bit later, but first we're going to make our predictions for this week. Zach?
All right, the only away contest in the segment, men's soccer at Adrian on Wednesday.
I say that men's soccer will end Adrian's 3-game winning streak by a margin of more than 1 goal.
Well, if Nick Straight's not in, I predict that Adrian's going to score 3+ goals, and the Scots are going to give up the most goals they have in a contest this season. That's my prediction. If he is playing, then I still predict that Adrian's going to score 3 goals, and Straight's going to give up the most goals that he has this season.
Women's volleyball hosts Hope on Friday. Hope is nationally ranked. Harrison.
All right, I think the Scots are going to take the nationally ranked Hope team to 5 sets.
I think the nationally ranked Hope team's going to sweep the Scots in 3.
Okay, starting homecoming weekend, 11 a.m. women's soccer hosts Albion.
I'm going to say Whitney Foote doesn't score in this game.
Kelsey Postema is going to record her 3rd shutout on the year and her 2nd against Albion.
Very nice, thank you. Finally, football hosts Hope at 1:30 at Bulky Field.
My stance for the football game on Saturday is that Dylan Zaborowski will throw for under 50%. And then my second one is that the defense will give up 455 yards or more of total offense.
Yikes. Well, mine's a little bit softer. After looking at the stats from the Hope game last year and then also the stats from last week, I think Dan Hugan will have more than 10 catches.
Okay, way to go. You guys got through a whole segment.
Oh no, why? That's so sad. Like, I can't deal. Oh my god.
Woot.
All right, it's time for our new segment here on Between the Lines called Hot Seat, where the loser of Take a Stand gets put on the hot seat. Are you ready, Harrison?
No, but we'll go ahead with it anyway.
All right. Start us off. I'd like to describe yourself in 3 words.
Pretty intelligent. Yeah, selfless would be a good one. Well kempt.
If you had a theme song, what would it be?
No, I guess if I had a theme song, it'd be The Fat Boys Are Back. You remember that song? They play it at football practice all the time. It always cheered me up a little bit. This offensive lineman just doing this. It was like me, Wilnow, Kendra, Bongard.
A penguin walks through the door, right there, wearing a sombrero. What does he say and why is he here?
I know he probably squawks like a penguin does because penguins can't talk. And then he's overshot Mexico. He's like too far north.
How many quarters would you need to reach the height of the Empire State Building?
Enough to pay Donald Trump's taxes over the last 20 years.
How do you make a tuna sandwich?
With tuna and bread.
If you were a girl, what sport would you play here at Alma College?
Track and field, specifically throwing.
Who's a better assistant SID, Zach Russo or Grace Wheeler?
For now, I'm going to have to say Grace.
Who's your favorite professor on campus and why?
I'm going to have to say Dr. Deals.
Who's your least favorite professor on campus and why?
Dr. Furlong.
I agree. But why?
He's very, very dry and all lecture.
Can you do your best Dr. Furlong impersonation for us, please?
He just walked up to me and like tapped on my notebook. And he was like, I hope you're going to write some of this down.
There's an issue with clowns right now in this country.